All right, welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving into how Islam answers like one of life's biggest questions.
Yeah,
What's our purpose here? What are we doing here?
that's right.
And to explore this, we're going to be using excerpts from a piece called
The beauty of Islam.
"The Beauty of Islam."
Yeah.
So that's going to be our guidebook, so to speak, on this little journey.
Yeah, and what I think is so interesting about this piece is it uses both verses from the Quran
Yeah.
and
Well,
even a hadith to kind of get at this question of purpose. What's interesting is it suggests that purpose isn't something that you find like out there. It's
Right.
actually something that's woven into every day, every action.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking about when I was reading through The Beauty of Islam. Like, it starts out by quoting Surah At-Dariyat,
Right.
51.56, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me.
Yeah, that's a powerful one.
I have to admit, like, initially when I read that, it makes me think of rituals, but
Yeah.
knowing even a little bit about Islam, I kind of get the feeling that there's more to it than that.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
The word worship in this context, it's actually a lot broader than just those formal acts of prayer.
Okay.
Praying 5 times a day.
Right. Right.
It's really about aligning your entire life with the will of Allah, like seeing every moment as an opportunity to actually serve him.
Okay. So how does that actually play out in everyday life, though? Does that mean like everything becomes serious, or are we talking about something else?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be serious, right? It's really about intentionality. So let me give you an example from The Beauty of Islam that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
Imagine you're like rushing to work, stressed out, and you see someone struggling with some heavy bags.
Right.
You could just walk by, right?
Yeah.
But what if you stopped and you helped them and you did it sincerely, intending to ease their burden and to please Allah?
Wow, I see what you mean. That simple act of kindness done with the right intention, like it becomes an act of worship. So suddenly this whole idea of worship, like it feels a lot more expansive to me. It's almost like a secret code,
Yeah.
to infuse meaning into like the most ordinary moments.
Exactly. It really does. It transforms the mundane into the meaningful.
Yeah.
And think about your own day, how many of those mundane moments are actually chances to connect with a higher purpose?
Right.
Maybe it's being patient in traffic, right?
Yeah.
Or giving a genuine compliment, or even just doing your work with excellence, knowing you're fulfilling a responsibility entrusted to you by Allah.
That's a real shift in perspective. And that reminds me of something else from the source, Surah Arad 13.28, which says, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." It makes me wonder, like, if this connection that we're talking about is actually the key to that inner peace, right,
Yeah.
that everyone seems to be searching for these days.
I think you're really onto something there. So much of what we're told by society, right, about success, about happiness, is so focused on these external things: wealth, status, possessions.
Yeah, that's right.
What if true contentment actually comes from aligning ourselves with our Creator, from that inner connection?
Yeah, it makes you really question all those societal messages, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed how, like, even when people achieve all those worldly things,
Yeah.
they often still seem like they're searching for something more.
Absolutely. And what this verse suggests is maybe what they're longing for is that remembrance of Allah,
Yeah.
that feeling of being grounded in something bigger than themselves. I'm curious, have you ever experienced that in your own life? Like those moments where connecting with something beyond the everyday brought you like a sense of peace or purpose?
You know what? I actually have. And it's funny. It wasn't necessarily in a religious context. There have been times when I've been so absorbed in like a creative project or just completely present in nature that I just felt this incredible sense of stillness and connection.
Ah.
And maybe in a way that was like my own form of remembrance, like a glimpse of that deeper connection that we're talking about.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And that's what I find so compelling about the Islamic perspective on life's purpose.
Yeah.
It's not about rejecting the world. It's about infusing it with meaning. It's about seeing the divine in the everyday.
So how do we actually do that? Like the beauty of Islam kind of hints at some practical ways to do that, right?
Right.
Like starting the day with a dua, reflecting on verses from the Quran.
Yes. And it even suggests something called 5 minutes of intention.
What's that?
The idea is that instead of trying to like overhaul your entire life, you simply commit to 5 minutes each day
Okay.
of consciously connecting with your intention to live in a way that pleases Allah.
So like 5 minutes, that feels doable even for somebody with a jam-packed schedule. It makes me think about all those little pockets of time throughout the day, right?
Right.
That could be transformed into moments of mindfulness and intention.
And I love how the source emphasizes that even small, consistent actions can lead to profound shifts over time.
Yeah.
It's like planting a seed. You might not see the results immediately,
Right?
but with patient nurturing, it eventually grows into something beautiful.
Okay, I'm hooked. But I have to ask about this one line from The Beauty of Islam that really caught my eye. It said, "The world is a prison for the believer and a paradise for the disbeliever." That's a hadith from Sahih Muslim. And honestly, it sounds kind of bleak at first. Like, what's the deeper meaning there?
Right. That's where things get really fascinating, I think.
Yeah.
That hadith, it's not meant to be taken literally. It's really about shifting our perspective on the world and its allure.
So not a literal prison, but
Think of it more as a metaphor for the constant tests and temptations that believers face in this world, We're surrounded by distractions that can pull us away from our true purpose. But it's also about recognizing that the true paradise actually lies in the hereafter.
so in a way, it's about staying focused on the bigger picture. Like not getting so caught up in the fleeting pleasures of this world that we lose sight of our ultimate goal.
Exactly. And the source clarifies that this doesn't mean that believers can't enjoy the good things in life. It's about approaching them mindfully, understanding their temporary nature, and recognizing that true fulfillment comes from something much deeper.
So if we were to apply this idea to our lives today, what would that look like? How would someone who truly believes this world is a prison for the believer approach like their career, their relationships, even their leisure time? That's what I'm dying to know.
That's a great question, and one that I think deserves a much deeper dive.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to be exploring in the next part of our deep dive. We'll unpack the practical implications of this powerful hadith, and we'll delve into even more ways to live a life that aligns with the Islamic understanding of purpose.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned for that. I've been thinking about that hadith we left off with.
Yeah.
About the world being a prison for the believer
Right.
and a paradise for the disbeliever.
Mm.
It's really gotten me thinking about how someone might actually live with that idea shaping their choices,
Yeah.
every day.
It's one of those ideas that really stays with you, isn't it?
It does. Yeah.
And it's especially relevant, I think, today when there's just so much emphasis on pursuing worldly success and indulging our desires.
Yeah.
But if we really believe that this world is a prison in the sense that it's full of tests and distractions,
Right.
it really changes how we approach those things, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So let's say, okay, somebody's super ambitious.
Okay.
They want the corner office, the big house, all the trappings of success, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does this hadith inform their pursuit? Does it mean they have to give up their dreams?
Not at all. Remember, Islam doesn't advocate for rejecting the world, right?
No.
It's about engaging with it mindfully.
Yeah.
So for that ambitious person, the question becomes, what's driving their ambition? Is it purely ego, a desire for status? Or is it a desire to use their talents and their resources to actually benefit others and please Allah?
So it's about checking your intentions, right?
Right.
About making sure your worldly pursuits are actually aligned with your ultimate purpose.
Exactly.
It's not about denying your ambition, but refining it.
Yeah, it's about refining it.
Yeah.
And imagine how that shift in intention might actually change how that person climbs the corporate ladder.
Yeah, right.
Instead of stepping on others or compromising their values, they might actually prioritize fairness, integrity, service.
Yeah.
Their ambition becomes a vehicle for good, not just for personal gain.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
It's like their ambition becomes a form of worship in itself.
Right.
Because it's driven by that higher purpose.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it, I think. It doesn't tell you what to do or
Yeah.
what to want,
Right.
but it encourages you to examine your heart and align your actions with your deepest values.
Okay, so we talked about ambition. What about relationships?
Yeah.
How might this hadith influence how somebody approaches their interactions with friends, family, even romantic partners?
Well, I think it reminds us that even the most fulfilling earthly relationships are temporary.
Right.
This doesn't mean we shouldn't cherish them, of course,
Yeah.
but it encourages us to view them through the lens of our ultimate purpose.
So, for example, instead of being consumed by jealousy or possessiveness in a relationship,
Yeah.
you might focus on building a bond that's grounded in mutual respect, kindness, and a shared desire to please Allah.
Yes. And even in the face of disagreements or challenges,
Yeah.
you might be more likely to approach the situation with patience and compassion, remembering that this world is a testing ground, not the final destination.
Yeah, that's right. I'm starting to see how this hadith can be like a source of strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And perspective, especially during difficult times. It's like a reminder that the ups and downs of this world are fleeting.
Yeah.
And our true focus should be on building that strong connection with Allah.
Exactly. It's about finding that equilibrium,
Right.
that balance between engaging with the world and remaining detached from its fleeting pleasures.
Right, yeah.
And remember, the source emphasizes that this world is a paradise for the disbelievers.
Oh,
Why? Because they're solely focused on maximizing their worldly enjoyment, with no regard for the hereafter.
that's a sobering thought.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about how even our leisure time,
Mm-hmm.
the things we do for fun can be approached through this lens.
Absolutely. Imagine someone who loves to travel,
Okay.
right? A believer might approach travel as an opportunity to experience the diversity of Allah's creation, to learn about different cultures,
Mhm.
and perhaps even to engage in acts of service along the way.
So even something as simple as choosing a vacation destination can be imbued with a deeper meaning and purpose.
Exactly. And that's what I find so empowering about this perspective.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you to give up the things you enjoy, but it invites you to consider how you can align them with your faith and your ultimate purpose.
Okay, I have to admit, this whole world as a prison concept
Yeah.
starting to make a lot more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also wondering how it fits with the idea of finding contentment and peace in this life, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Like, how can you find rest and joy in a prison?
That's a great question. And it goes back to the idea that true contentment comes from connecting with Allah,
Right.
from aligning our hearts with His will.
So even amidst the challenges and distractions of this world,
Yeah,
there's still a path to inner peace.
absolutely. And that path involves recognizing the limitations of this world,
Okay.
using our time and resources wisely, and finding joy in the things that truly matter. Our connection with Allah, our service to others, and our growth as individuals.
So it's not about denying ourselves happiness.
Right.
But it's about understanding that true happiness stems from something much deeper and more lasting than fleeting worldly pleasures.
Exactly. It's about finding joy in the journey.
Yeah.
Knowing that this world is just a temporary stop on the road to our ultimate destination.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
I'm still curious, though, about those practical steps, right?
Yeah.
The beauty of Islam suggests for actually connecting with our faith and living with intention.
Yeah.
What are some other ways that people can integrate these principles
Yeah.
into their daily lives? It's wild, right? Like how it weaves spirituality into like every aspect of life.
Yeah, it's not just like this separate thing.
It's not compartmentalized, right?
Oh, not at all.
It's really fascinating. And, we've seen how worship like extends way beyond rituals, right?
Yeah.
Becoming like a way of life, like a lens through which we view like every action, right?
Yeah.
From helping somebody with bags to pursuing like really ambitious goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about aligning our intentions, right? With the desire to please Allah.
That's right.
And that's where those practical steps from the beauty of Islam come in,
Right.
We talked about starting the day with a dua and reflecting on Quranic verses,
Yeah.
but what else kind of resonated with you?
Well, one that really stuck out to me was spending time in nature.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of modern life.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you pause to really observe the beauty and complexity of the natural world, it's like this powerful reminder of Allah's creation.
I feel that, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like this sense of awe and wonder
Yeah.
that comes from just being surrounded by nature.
Absolutely.
Like a reset button for the soul.
And it can actually be a form of worship in itself.
Oh, wow.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said,
Okay.
there is no Muslim who plants a tree or sows a seed, and then a bird or a person or an animal eats from it,
Mm-hmm.
but it is regarded as a charitable gift for him.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
So even something as simple as gardening can be an act of worship.
that's right.
It's amazing how this perspective just elevates everyday actions to this like spiritual level,
Yeah, it really does.
It's really cool. And remember that concept of 5 minutes of intention
Right.
we were talking about earlier?
Yes.
That can be applied to so many aspects of life, right?
It can be, yeah. So, like, before a meal,
Okay.
take 5 minutes to just express gratitude for the sustenance that Allah has provided.
Right.
Before you start work, take 5 minutes to reaffirm your intention, to use your skills and your talents for His service.
Yeah.
It's about weaving mindfulness and intention into like the fabric of your day.
It's like those 5 minutes become these little reminders of your purpose, right?
Yeah.
Little anchors to keep you grounded throughout the day.
Exactly. And over time, those small moments, they can actually have like a ripple effect, transforming your perspective and shaping your actions in pretty profound ways. And remember, consistency is key.
Yeah.
It's about making small, sustainable changes that you can stick with over time,
Right.
rather than attempting these drastic overhauls that, just fizzle out really quickly.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. We're all on a journey.
Right.
And it's the continuous striving, the sincere effort that matters the most.
That's a good point. And, it's also good to remember that this journey is not a solitary one, right?
It's not.
Like, the Source emphasizes the importance of community,
Yeah.
of connecting with other people who share your faith and supporting each other on this path.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, having a support system,
Yeah.
people to share your struggles and triumphs with,
Yeah, for sure.
it can make all the difference.
Absolutely. It's about creating an environment that nurtures your spiritual growth,
Right.
whether it's attending religious gatherings, joining a study circle, or just spending time with like-minded individuals.
Yeah, for sure.
Surrounding yourself with those positive influences can really strengthen your resolve and deepen your understanding.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm left with this feeling of possibility,
Yeah.
It's like a whole new way of looking at life has kind of opened up.
I feel that too. And the Islamic perspective on life's purpose is so empowering, I think,
Yeah.
because it doesn't limit you to like a specific path or a profession.
Right.
It's about aligning your heart with Allah's will,
Right.
no matter where you are or what you do.
And it's a journey of continuous learning and growth, right?
It absolutely is. There's always more to discover,
Yeah.
more to understand,
Right.
more ways to deepen our connection with the divine.
I love that. So, as we conclude,
Yeah.
I want to kind of circle back to that question that the Source leaves us with.
Yeah.
If your life was truly structured around the belief that your sole purpose is to worship Allah,
Yeah.
what would look different?
Mm-hmm.
It's a question that really deserves some serious reflection, isn't it?
It really is. And I encourage you to sit with that question, to let it guide your thoughts and your actions as you kind of move forward.
Yeah.
Maybe it sparks a change in your daily routine, a shift in your priorities, or just a renewed commitment to living with intention.
It's like a call to action,
Yeah,
an invitation to align our lives with our deepest values.
that's right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this journey, right? This journey into the heart of Islam's view on life's purpose.
Yeah.
We hope this deep dive has kind of sparked something within you,
Yeah.
a desire to live more intentionally and to see that beauty of worship in every moment.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.